Story title: My friend and I went for a long walk in the woods. When we came back, only about 10 minutes had passed. Author name: Needs More Tuba. My friend was staying over at my house for the weekend, and we decided to walk down to the pier at the creek. We left a little before noon and checked the time because her mom was picking her up around 4, and we didn't want to get in trouble. I'm absolutely sure we left just a few minutes before noon instead of misreading the clock, because a noon alarm sounded before we got to the road that went to the creek. The noon alarm was a loud siren that the fire department would test every Sunday at 12. I think it might have been on a timer because it always happened at noon. The only other use for the siren was for emergencies, like a tornado warning. We turned onto the road that led to the trail to the creek, walked all the way there, messed around doing whatever it is we did. That's the only part I don't specifically remember, but it's not really that important since nothing strange happened. And then we went home. I think it's probably about 3/4 of a mile to the creek, but I'm not great at estimates. You can look at the map and make your own guess. Regardless, we had been gone for at least 2 hours. I've always been a very good judge of how much time has passed. So much so that when I'm cooking food, I don't even have to set an alarm. It's almost like a magic power, I'm so good at it. But even if I was horrible at keeping time, it's quite a long walk and would have been impossible to do in 10 minutes. When we returned from the creek, my mom looked at us and said, "Oh, I thought you were going to the creek." We told her that we already did, and I don't think she argued because I was a weird kid, and she was a busy mom who did all of her chores on Sunday. When we looked at the clock, it was 12:07. There is no way we could have walked all the way to the creek and back in 10 minutes. Here is the path we took. The white arrow is drawn on because there's not an actual road going to the creek. It might not be entirely accurate, but the rest of the map is. We spent our remaining 4 hours together trying to explain what had happened. I still can't. It's not the weirdest glitch I've ever experienced, but I think it was my first one. Personal thoughts. Okay, so this is another time lost story, but don't worry. I don't think it's aliens this time. Primarily because aliens usually don't abduct people in broad daylight. It just wouldn't make sense. Also, it doesn't appear that they lost any memories. The charting of what they did to and from is pretty clear. Although he does say that he doesn't remember all the things he did when they were at the creek. But, those aren't important details. I don't think you'd remember them so long in the future. And I imagine at the time, he did remember them. It's just that now that he's recalling it years later, the memories aren't there. So I don't think it's aliens this time. I think, the obvious answer would be daylight savings time. But this is happening at midday, not at night. So daylight savings wouldn't trigger. It seems to be more like they got caught in some kind of time freeze zone. I've heard of this before. Like there are pockets of the world that if you cross into, time sort of freezes for you, or just passes very slowly. And apparently this effect persists for a little while after you leave the area. Although I have no idea what causes these areas to appear, and they don't appear to last indefinitely. So even if you went back to the same place where it triggered, it wouldn't happen again. It might have been something like that. Outside of that, I'm really not sure. If you have any ideas or something similar has happened to you, let me know in the comments. And as always, if you liked the video, like it up.